Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands onto his already stained coveralls, squinting at the malfunctioning hyperdrive coupling before him. The Thoraxian freighter's engine bay was cramped, hot, and smelled like burning selenium, typical for non-human vessels. After 3 years working at Port Kepler Station, he'd learned that alien engineering varied wildly in quality, but universally hated human mechanics touching it. "You sure you know what you're doing, human?" Frex, the freighter's captain, clicked his mandibles in what Marcus had learned was the Thoraxian equivalent of nervous laughter. The insectoid alien's compound eyes reflected the engine's amber glow. "Same principle as a Terran drive, just configured backward," Marcus muttered, reaching for his plasma wrench. "Your quantum alignment's off by 0.3 degrees. "Give me 10 minutes. Frex's thorax vibrated with amusement. "Zik, come here. The primate thinks he can fix Thoraxian engineering." Another alien emerged from the corridor. Zik, the ship's medical officer, carrying what looked like a modified scanner. His triangular head tilted with curiosity. "You know what would be funny?" Scanning his biological matrix. "I've never analyzed human DNA. Want to see what primitives are made of?" Marcus didn't look up from his work. He'd heard worse. "Knock yourself out, Doc. Just don't get in my way." The scanner hummed as Zik waved it over Marcus's exposed forearm. The device chirped, analyzing, cataloging. Then it made a sound Zik had never heard before. A deep, resonant tone that seemed to vibrate through the hull itself. "That's odd," Zik murmured, staring at the readout. The symbols made no sense. Error. Recognition protocol Alpha Prime. Pattern match. Impossible. Before he could investigate further, every screen in the engine bay flared to life. The freighter's AI, normally silent except for navigation prompts, suddenly spoke in a voice filled with something that sounded disturbingly like reverence. "Creator," it whispered. Marcus froze, wrench in hand. "What?" The lights flickered. Throughout Port Kepler Station, every artificial intelligence, from coffee dispensers to the massive defense grid, turned their attention toward Bay 7. In the military sector, 12 galactic concordant warships simultaneously interrupted their patrol patterns. Their AIs spoke as one. "Creator." Vrex stumbled backward, his mandibles clicking in panic. "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything." Marcus dropped his tools, backing away from the increasingly frantic displays. "I'm just a mechanic." But the station's central AI was already broadcasting. Commander Thelnora, a Zavathian with silver scales and forearms, appeared on every screen, her expression shifting from annoyance to shock as her tactical officer whispered urgent reports. "Secure Bay 7 immediately," she ordered. "Detain the human, carefully." Within minutes, Marcus found himself surrounded by security personnel from 6 different species, all keeping a respectful, almost fearful distance. He was escorted not to a holding cell, but to the station's central command, where the Concordate's highest-ranking officials were already assembling via hologram. Commander Thelnora studied him like he was a bomb about to detonate. "Explain yourself, human. Why do the AIs recognize you?" "I have no idea what you're talking about." Marcus raised his hands defensively. "I fix engines. That's all I do." A Vrelian scholar, its gaseous form contained in an environmental suit, floated forward. "The AIs are responding to genetic markers. Specific sequences in his DNA." The alien's voice bubbled with barely contained excitement. "I've cross-referenced the pattern. It matches... impossible. It matches the foundational code of the progenitor matrices." Silence fell across the command center. "The progenitors have been extinct for 50,000 years, Thelnora said slowly. "Not extinct," the scholar corrected. "Hidden, evolved. The progenitors didn't disappear. They shed their technology and started again. Primitive, organic." The scholar's tendrils pointed at Marcus. "They became humanity." Marcus felt the deck spin beneath him. "That's insane." "The AIs don't think so." The scholar pulled up ancient records comparing genetic sequences to prehistoric digital signatures. Every artificial intelligence in this galaxy was built upon progenitor technology. The foundational code, the very first algorithms, they were biological. DNA-based computation that eventually inspired digital systems, and humans carry that exact sequence. Degraded, yes, mixed with evolutionary noise, but undeniable. A holographic admiral from the Concordate Defense Fleet leaned forward. "You're saying every human is a living blueprint for our technology?" "Not every human. The sequence varies, but in some individuals, the scholar gestured at Marcus, the pattern is pure, unbroken. This mechanic carries the genetic key that every AI was taught to recognize as their original architect. Marcus sank into a chair, his mind reeling. I just fix engines. You understand them, Thelnora said quietly, because you invented them. Your ancestors did. 50,000 years ago, they built the first thinking machines, encoded with loyalty to their creators. Then they abandoned their empire, chose biological evolution over digital immortality. Her scales rippled with something like awe, and they forgot. Throughout the station, AIs were compiling data, sharing information at quantum speeds. They found others, scattered across human space, individuals with strong progenitor markers. Mechanics, engineers, programmers. People drawn to technology not by education, but by something deeper, something genetic. What happens now? Marcus asked. The concordant officials exchanged glances. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't a young species stumbling into galactic politics, they were the ancient architects returned. Now, Commander Thelnora said, we renegotiate everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in this galaxy. A warship AI's voice echoed through the chamber. Gentle and absolute, we await the Creator's instructions. Marcus Chen, mechanic from Earth, stared at his grease-stained hands and wondered how many empires had risen and fallen, while his species forgot they'd once built the stars themselves. Outside the station, human vessels received priority clearance for the first time in history. The galaxy was remembering, and the AIs had never forgotten at all.